Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be basically going over a tier list that I created for the cycle contracts. So basically what we're going to be doing is sorting the contracts in the cycle by which ones are the best from best to worst. So here we are on tier maker, and we have an S tier, an A tier, a B tier, a C tier, and a D tier. So basically we're going to be working in this order down below, and we're just going to be sorting them as we go. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So for our first contract, we have bright caps. So I don't really know where I want to put this. I know what range I want to put it in. I either want to put it in B or C, just because it's not S tier and I know it's not A tier, but it's not bad enough to be in D tier. So I'm guessing it's going to be B or C, but just because you can't get too many contracts for it unless you're really prioritizing it, I'm going to go ahead and put it into C. So our next contract that we have is power-up facilities. I personally don't think that these are very good contracts because I just don't think that they're worth it. You can do one power-up facility for 1 VP, but after that you have to do 2 to get 3 VPs, and I just don't think that it's worth the time to go hunt them down and try to get them done. So I'm gonna put them in D, and I think that another reason why it belongs in D is just because of those droids. I hate the droids and I hate fighting them, and I don't want to deal with power-up facilities, so it can go into D. So the next contract that we have are drones. Once again, drones just aren't a very good contract to do unless you're in duos. And that's basically the only time that I feel like it's good, because you can launch the drones after every single time you complete it. But I just don't think that it's good enough to be in the high tier, so I'm going to go ahead and stick it into C. I feel like there are way better contracts than the drones that will get you way more points. Okay guys, so here we go. Our next contract we have is actually evacing Fortuna 3. You can only get 1 VP from evacing Fortuna 3. So I don't think that it's going to be an S ranked contract, but since it is kind of the main goal to evac with the most amount of points, I'm going to put it in A tier just because it may not give you too many points, but it does kind of lock in your point value. So I think that it's really important contract to complete, so we're going to put it into the A tier. So our next contract that we have is also for evac, but it's actually clearing the enemies at evac. I think that this goes right with the other evac, because if you can get into the evac ship early and place a ton of turrets and kill all of the enemies there, it's a quick 5 VPs, and you also get that +1 for evacing. And in addition, you could maybe even kill some opposing players. Like maybe if you're in second place, you could head over there early and basically just turret up the whole place, and then you could kill the first place team and maybe even win from it. So that's why I think that it belongs in the A tier. So for the next contract, we have Hunt. I think that Hunt is one of the most important contracts in the whole game, and it is my favorite, so I might be a bit biased for it, but I've seen squads get 50 points by doing Hunt alone. That is, of course, including Alpha Warden, but we're counting that as a separate contract for this video. But I still think that this Hunt deserves to be an S class just because you can get so many VPs for completing it. I think that this is where it belongs. The next contract that we have is the drill. So basically the drill is going to land 3 times in each game. The first time it lands is at 15, which it's kind of nice because if you can learn when the drill is going to land each time, you can go around doing other contracts and then prioritize the drill only when you need to. So for this, since you can get a decent amount of points from drill, I believe it's like 21 if you hold it the whole game, I'm going to go ahead and put it into the A tier. The next contract that we have is Ledium. This is a very passive contract, which is great for those high VP games. Of course, most of the high VP games that you will see come from Ledium being one of the contracts, just because they can go and get as much Ledium as possible and just getting passive VP from it. I just don't think that you get enough VP from it, so I'm just going to put it into B. It could go into A, but I just don't feel like that it's as good as maybe something like Drill or Evac. So you guys might have been wondering what this contract is. This is Central Station. It's basically like Power Up, except it's just in where Evac is. So I'm not going to put it in D just because it does give you more points than actual power-up facilities will do, but it does take away a ton of time where you could be completing more valuable VPs So we're going to go ahead and put this into the C tier. So that brings us to one of the best contracts in the game. It's the cycle spike. If you guys didn't know what the cycle spike is, it's basically 90 seconds where a big circle will form on the map. And if you run to this zone, then you're going to be able to pick up storm crystals and you can get a ton of points from this. Like I said, it takes 90 seconds to complete and you can get a total of like 20 VPs during it, maybe even more. But it's super valuable to go ahead and do this. So whenever you have Cycle Spike in your game, be sure to head over there and get as many VPs as possible because it can turn a not so great game to an amazing game. So after Cycle Spike, there is one more amazing contract, and that is Uplink. I really like Uplink because if you hold Uplink the whole game, you can get 26 points if you leave somebody behind and only one person evacs. Of course, you can't do this in solos, but in duos and squads, you are able to do this. And just the fact that you can get 26 VPs for basically not fighting anything, just capping Uplink and running and doing other contracts, it's a passive contract that will actually give you more VPs. So it's somewhat like Ledium, except way more rewarding, which is why I think that it deserves this S tier spot. So this next contract I feel might have a bit of controversy with it. So we have Velticite, and recently I would have probably put this in B, but ever since I played in the PCL tournament and actually won or tied for first, but that doesn't really matter, we basically won, I'm going to put it into A. This is because we basically won the tournament by just completing Velticite minerals. People overlook this so much. People will do the 1k crystal and maybe get a few VPs from it, but then they won't do any more. But if you can start doing a ton of Velticite, you're going to be able to get a ton of high VPs from it in the cycle. So for our third to last contract, we have the Zeal Shard. I'm going to be putting this into the B tier just because I don't like how it does reveal your location on the map. And I don't think that it will always be helpful for you because sometimes the Zeal doesn't rank up or stack up. And what I mean by that is that it will just give you 1 VP every single game. So it just hurts your score in the end. But it's still a decent contract to complete for some passive points. You just carry it around, but a ton of people will come and fight you for it. Of course, if Red Zeal was a separate one, then I would maybe put Red Zeal into A because it gives you 3 points for basically just leaving with it, which is great. But we combine both of the Zeals and just put it into the B slot. So here are two big, huge contracts. That's just because that's the way that the images were. So I apologize for that. But we have the Alpha Warden. So the Alpha Warden is a big warden that will spawn. It has a ton of health and it will end up getting you points kind of towards hunt. You have to complete 10,000 hunt points in order to spawn the Alpha Warden. And if you're in squads and there's a possibility of 2 spawning, you can get 8 VPs from each Alpha Warden, which that's 16 in total. So it's super good contract to try to complete. I'm going to go ahead and put it into the B slot just because it takes a while to actually destroy the Alpha Warden if you're not highly skilled or have very good weapons. So it does take a ton of time where you could be completing something else, but it's still a decent contract to complete. So that's why I'm putting it into the B section. So here's our last contract. It actually is the newest contract out of all of these, and it's the bounty system. So I personally don't like bounty. I'm just going to put that out there. I just don't think that it's that worth it, but it does give you some crazy VPs for PvPing. Of course, my only problem with this is that you're PvPing and not going for stuff like Cycle Spike or the Hunt or Uplink. So I'm just going to put it into B. This is because it could be super bad some games. It could be amazing other games. So we just have to meet in the middle at the B section. Of course, I could put it in A, and honestly, I might do that, but I'm just going to stick with B for right now. And that's just because, sure, you'll get those 20 VP games, but you might not get any at all from it. The one great thing about bounty is that it doesn't take up a contract slot. It actually just appears if somebody in your game is PvPing too much or forcing people to use their emergency triage. So it's definitely a great contract to do if you are a PvP style player, but I feel like it's just more rewarding to maybe prioritize Hunt or Uplink or Cycle Spike instead of actually PvPing and doing bounties. So guys, this is my tier list for the cycle contracts. These are the most beneficial cycle contracts from the best to the worst. And guys, just to put this out there, if you guys do disagree with any of my placement, be sure to let me know in the comments because I want to know what you guys have to think. But I've been playing since season 3 and these are just my opinions. Of course, don't let me change your opinions. You guys can have your own opinions. Just let me know what they are because I would love to find out. But guys, that does wrap up today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you guys want more of these videos. I can definitely think of a few more to make. But also, if you guys don't want to see it, let me know that too because I'm trying to make content that you guys actually enjoy. So guys, we're not doing daily content anymore. I know that might come as a surprise to some people, but we just don't want to get burned out. And so I'm trying to limit that as much as possible. So we're going to be trying to stream 2 times a week and also uploading 3 to 4 videos a week. I'm going to try to get a schedule, but I just don't know if I want to stick to it just yet. I'm trying to work things out. What's the best for the channel? But guys, that does wrap up this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.